What's going on, guys? JSkeleton here with Random Guys today, coming at you with some very interesting news and information regarding Zelda Breath of the Wild. You guys may already see it up on screen. So Reggie Fils-Aimé of Nintendo of America, he was showing off the Master Edition and Special Edition of Breath of the Wild on Treehouse Live on this past Friday. And the map was something that I thought maybe we could, look at and catch some stuff in, but I didn't look at it a whole lot at the time. It was just a busy weekend for me. I never got around to it. But recently, I seen some screenshots people had taken of the map, and we can sort of make out what it says. So you guys can see on screen right now. At the top left, it says Hebra. Kind of near the center, it says Central Hyrule. Top right, it says Eldin. Right under that, it says Lanayru. Right under that, it says, let me see here. It's hard to read. Necluda, I believe it says. And right under that, kind of bottom middle, it says Faron. Now, there's three ones I want to kind of, focus on the most, which is going to be Eldin, Lanayru, and Faron. And the reason for that, by the way, there's another one at the very top right, but I can't really make it out. The reason I want to focus on those three is because they are all in two titles. There are only two Zelda games that all three of those provinces are in. That is Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess. So very briefly, Lanayru is a province in both. It's a location in both games, Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. In Twilight Princess, it's also a Spirit of Light that helps Link, and in Skyward Sword, it's a Thunder Dragon that appears to Link. Eldin is another Spirit of Light in Twilight Princess, and in Skyward Sword it's a Fire Dragon as well. It's a location in both games. It's more the fiery place. Lanayru is more of the desert province, and Eldin is more like Death Mountain, the volcanic province, if you will. And again, it's the Spirit of Light in Twilight Princess and a Fire Dragon in Skyward Sword. Faron, again, is a location in both games, more of the forest kind of location, and another Spirit of Light in Twilight Princess, and a Water Dragon in Skyward Sword. Now, this is very interesting because there's been a lot of connections to not only just Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, but also Wind Waker in Breath of the Wild. And those are some of the games that I love the story the most, and Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, which obviously there's some connections to Ocarina of Time as well, regarding the Temple of Time. And so there's just a lot of connections to some of the greatest Zelda games. I'm not going to say Skyward Sword is necessarily the most fun to play, but there's a lot of great story in that game, a lot of great lore in the game Skyward Sword, and it's just super interesting that there's so many connections, especially there seems to be a heavy emphasis even on Twilight Princess, which is my all-time favorite Zelda game of all time. There was a quote from Ayanuma, and I think it was at E3. I can't remember when. I know when I initially heard it, I was like, wow, what does this mean? And I actually have the quote pulled up here for you guys. So what he says is, while making the latest title for The Legend of Zelda, when I look at this remake, okay, so when he says, while making the latest title for The Legend of Zelda, he's talking about Breath of the Wild. When he's talking about the remake, he's talking about Twilight Princess HD. He goes on to say, I feel like this is the origin plot of Breath of the Wild. I'm just going to replace new title with Breath of the Wild and remake with Twilight Princess HD, so you guys can understand better. So he says, I feel like this is the origin point of Breath of the Wild we're making right now. He says the new title we're making right now. After playing this game, you may have some, oh, I see moments when playing the Breath of the Wild game. So I'll be glad if you play Twilight Princess HD while waiting in anticipation for the latest title of Legend of Zelda. You got to keep in mind, this is just before Breath of the Wild was called Breath of the Wild. So I guess it was before E3, actually. So that's why I was calling it the new title. And then he goes on to say regarding, he was asked about the amiibo, and the Wolf Link amiibo, and he says it's not the save data itself, but part of the save data. Part of the data saved in Wolf Link amiibo can be brought over and used in the new title too. Which, of course, if you guys don't know, Wolf Link, if you scan in the amiibo, he becomes a companion of yours in Breath of the Wild, which is pretty interesting in and of itself, because that's kind of like two Links in the same game if you think about it. Then he goes on to say, this is the super mind-blowing interesting part to me that just like boggles my mind. He goes, for some people, when they play the new title, which is Breath of the Wild, they might feel the urge to play Twilight Princess HD one more time. When I heard that, I was floored, because I was like, man, there has to be some super heavy connection to Twilight Princess, and people are going to want to see, go back and play Twilight Princess and kind of try to put the pieces together, and that's all I can see what he's talking about there. So really interesting stuff, my friends. It's just like mind-boggling and just extremely exciting, because like I said, Twilight Princess is one of my favorite Zelda games of all time, and there's a lot of connections to Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Wind Waker in Breath of the Wild. And the fact that these three provinces are in Breath of the Wild, it has to come after Twilight Princess. Obviously, Skyward Sword is at the very beginning of the timeline, but Breath of the Wild has to come after Twilight Princess, and somewhere in that timeline, I don't even know. I'm not even going to try to make up a timeline theory right now, but all I know is there's heavy connections to, more specifically, Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword for whatever reason. Like I said, Lanayru, Eldin, and Farron. It's just crazy to me. It's just crazy. But let me know what you guys make out of it in the comment section below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, subscribe to the comment, share all awesome stuff. I'm extremely excited for Breath of the Wild. I cannot wait to play it. And there's probably so much stuff to theorize about when the game actually comes out. So again, smash the like button, subscribe to the comment, share all that awesome stuff. I'll catch you guys in the next video. And like always, until then, game on.